Good evening everyone, and welcome to the presentation of our solution Tradie Horizons to assist in taming the wicked problem, how to kickstart a sustainable enterprising lifestyle for underemployed youth. Our collaborative group includes David White, Alistair George and Leanne Kearney, otherwise affectionately known as the Three Blind Mice. We were fortunate as a group to be able to draw on a very diverse range of experience, including operations, training and fleet management, business to business and business to consumer sales, retail management and human resource management. Undoubtedly, our solution Tradie Horizons is unique but simple, yet we strongly believe viable in addressing underemployment for the youth of Australia for several reasons, which we will explain further for you, our captive audience. However, I urge you to consider one important fact, and that is, young people currently represent around 1/5 of the world's population, but half of the total unemployed global workforce. Therefore, it is essential the problem is addressed by many to deliver a positive future for the youth in Australia. The journey for Tradie Horizons began as an innovative concept originating from our collaborative group's initial ideas and evolving as we shared personal stories after we had each researched underemployment. It provided a foundation for us to begin. What we uncovered early on was there are currently 42 trades jobs listed on Australia's skilled shortage list, and the underutilisation rate for youth in February 2017 was 31.5%, which comprises 18% underemployment compared to 13.5% unemployment, the highest in almost 40 years and above the level of the recession of the early 1990s. All of that said, however, I'd like to share with you the personal story that cemented our direction. And that is one of our family members left school in Year 11 and completed a trade qualification, which was a diesel mechanic. This was simply because his ultimate dream was to be a marine mechanic in the police force, and school was just not for him, so he had to be enterprising and find another way. The short story is he achieved his lifelong dream. However, that was unexpectedly cut short after 15 years when he made the decision to retire medically unfit. From there, he was left wondering what next. So with his trade qualification, he was able to turn his hand to teaching both mechanics and road law, started a driving school and marine mechanics business, joined the Roads and Maritime Services, and is now a boating safety officer, so never short of employment. All of this off the back of attaining a trade qualification. For us, his personal journey ticked the box for kickstarting a sustainable enterprising lifestyle. As a result, we believe that by encouraging young people to attain a trade qualification, they will be able to have a sustainable and enterprising future. Whilst we thought our idea was fabulous, we wondered what the youth of Australia would think and what they were searching for when seeking to be fully utilised in the workforce. We defined underemployment as the condition in which people in a labour force are employed at less than full-time or regular jobs, or at jobs inadequate with respect to their training or economic needs. The Brotherhood of St Lawrence provided many valuable insights from a youth perspective, and I would like to share some of them with you now. For example, Kevin, 21 years of age, who states, "I just want to get out there and work," who counts as underemployed, talks about what it's like to work 10 hours a week. Shanna, who is 21, has only secured 2 short-term jobs since finishing school in 2012. That's over 6 years ago. She talks about the challenges she faces in her job search, which is complicated by living far from the city. Aaron, 19, who is hunting for full-time work. However, he'd like to earn enough to launch an independent life, but in a job market where competition for entry-level roles is intense, he's finding it really tough. So fueled by the fact that these were real youth experiencing underemployment, we knew our idea would work, so we set about defining how we thought it would work. We were ready to put pen to paper and construct our idea with the use of the business model canvas, which you can see illustrated here for you today. We love the way the BMC was able to bring our simple idea together. What it enabled us to do was look at each of the 9 building blocks and just keep building. You can certainly see the detail around the initial BMC and its 9 building blocks, all of which suggest that transitioning from school to a trade qualification would satisfy the underemployed youth of Australia through the fulfilment of their desire to reach their full potential, be gainfully employed in meaningful work, be provided more hours whilst utilising skills and knowledge, whilst also providing them with a sustainable and enterprising future due to the trade skills shortage. It is clear we identified the disconnect that exists between declining apprenticeships, trades industry employers desperate for employees, and the trade skills shortage. We believed what was required was a conduit between all three to connect and direct youth to employment opportunities where vacancies actually existed, and that is where Tradie Horizons embarks on their journey and certainly will become successful. I'll now hand you over to David, who'll now take you through our solution, which has been developed even further.
Thank you, Leanne. That business model canvas was a fantastic start for us, but we quickly realised that the next step we're going to need to take was to gain a deeper understanding of the construction industry in Australia. To do this, we used an academic literature review, and what we learned was that the construction industry is growing rapidly. We found that the percentage of underemployed females was larger than their male counterparts. We found that female youth were underrepresented in the construction industry. We found that New South Wales, Victoria, and the Australian Capital Territory have a significant skills shortage in construction, and yet Western Australia seems to have an oversupply. We also found that the construction industry is ranked in one of the top 3 employers in Australia. What this meant and what we're able to gain from this is that the construction industry has the capacity and the possibility to be a significant solution to this wicked problem. Through a process of iterative prototyping, we've been able to come up with better and better versions of our business model canvas. This is in an effort to narrow down and focus our efforts to be as effective as possible. We found that our first was attempting to be everything to everyone, and yet certain key factors have been overlooked. We now have identified our target population as by using the Brotherhood of St Lawrence definition of youth being between 15 and 24 years of age. Our customer segment now includes parents, as they're obviously going to be a very important part of this process. Our key partners now include apprenticeship centres, employees in key industries, because again, these are going to be fantastic resources that we'll be able to draw upon to actually put this into reality. Mentoring youth has also become a focus, while nurturing relationships and trust and reliability with both our customer segments and key partners. We're also now focused on females in the construction industry, and because of what we've learned, we know they're currently being underrepresented in this industry. Well, this is it, the final product. Tradie Horizons in business model canvas form. Obviously the first thing that jumps out is the fact that it's a lot clearer than our initial one. It's a lot more streamlined and a lot more focused. What I'll do now is quickly run through the 9 building blocks of what makes up this business, because this is the clearest and fastest way to get an overall picture of what Tradie Horizons really is. To start, our value proposition is going to be connection to a trade. It's improved employability. It's addressing the skills shortage, resourceful female youth, it's trade qualifications, it's sustainable pathways, and the construction industry in general. Now, our key partners to make this a reality are, of course, the youth that we've been speaking about, 15 to 24 years of age, schools and TAFE, trade unions, trade industry bodies, apprenticeship centres, employees and key industry leaders. Our key activities will include marketing the brand, trade roadshows, maintaining partnerships, career expos and fairs, mentoring and facilitation. The key resources that will be required is funding, of course, social media platforms will be very powerful facilitators and speakers and industry mentors. Now, the customer relationships are going to be managed via a help centre, via referrals, by creating opportunities, working relationships with employers, mentoring, trust and reliability. Now, customer segments will include student users, organisations and employers, teachers, advertisers, parents, construction industry, and career counsellors. The channels we'll be utilising will be a mobile application, a web application, direct contact with youth, as well as via a mentoring program. Now, all of this needs to be underpinned by a cost structure, which will include website costs, contractor wages, materials, sales and marketing, and also the use of mobile Tradie Horizons vans in order for us to get both our staff to the people that require it and our brand out there and aware. Revenue streams will include advertising revenue, subscription fees, trade employer sponsorship, fees for services rendered, government incentives and government funding. We've been able to identify a large number of underlying assumptions behind our Tradie Horizons business model canvas. What we've done is group these together based on common themes and then identified what our true key underlying assumptions are. Now, the first and foremost, the most important one is that we can garner interest of all key partners, including trade industry bodies, employers, unions, as well as youth and education providers. That we can manage these relationships to the benefit of all parties, that there is a skills shortage that we can help solve, that there is an issue with underemployed youth that we can help solve, that the current mindset is that you need to go to university to be enterprising, that a trade skill can help create a successful enterprise, that we can gain funding through grants, advertising, subscriptions and sponsorship. Now, we'll need to test and validate these assumptions, and they're going to form part of our research questions. Now, Alistair will run through those and take it from here. Thank you.
Thank you, David. After identifying our underlying assumptions, we were able to develop our research questions. Our primary research question is the most important question that we need to answer in order to validate our idea. Our primary research question is, are trade industry bodies, employers, key industry leaders and unions keen to work together to connect the youth of Australia to a trade qualification? Confirming that all key partners would be willing to work with our proposed business towards a common goal will be critical for success. We've also identified a number of secondary research questions, which must also be answered. Firstly, is there a genuine trade skills shortage in Australia? Whilst there is some academic research that supports that there is a genuine trade skills shortage, this is a key aspect of the solution that requires additional research to be confirmed. The second and third questions: are Australian youth actually interested in completing a trade qualification? And do Australian youth understand the sustainable career pathways a trade qualification could provide? These questions are about gauging the opinions within our target demographic to aid our marketing strategy, whilst also determining a starting point for our mentoring programs. Finally, does a trade qualification provide an enterprising lifestyle for resourceful youth? This question is about confirming that by guiding youth towards a trade qualification and career, that this would actually create the enterprising lifestyle that we are aiming to achieve. To conduct our research, we've developed a research design checklist which will help us guide us through the process. In terms of ontology, we selected the constructivist approach. This is because if we can change what youth know and believe about being entrepreneurial, they can change the reality too. Our epistemology is interpretive. The world we want to create does not exist without the knowledge that is being created, And by building on the current research and drawing the links between the phenomena, a solution can be derived. Looking at the research methods or tools we intend on using, we have decided to use surveys to gather quantitative data and establish an initial level of support for our idea. We will then use a combination of interviews, focus groups, case studies, and existing knowledge and research to collect qualitative data. As mentioned, we will use mixed method research to collect both qualitative and quantitative data. The objective of our research is to identify the contributing factors that may or may not influence our key partners to want to connect the youth of Australia to a trade qualification. We aim to understand the problem from a youth perspective. We want to predict what may happen and also change the mindset. Our study will be using cross-sectional research. Our primary target population is youth, which are between the ages of 15 to 24. According to the 2016 Census of Population and Housing, there are almost 3 million Australians that fall in this category. We intend on selecting a sample of between 1 to 2,000. We will also be targeting trade industry bodies, employers, key industry leaders and unions. For this group, we'll be attempting to select a sample from around 1 to 200 participants. Our data analysis will involve looking at common patterns with the responses, reviewing literature findings, and identifying variables. The threats to the validity of our results will be time, reliability, and sampling errors. We believe that Tradie Horizons is a really valid business opportunity, poised to make a real difference for Australians, particularly young Australians. We have uncovered the disconnect that exists between declining apprenticeships, trade employers that are crying out for employees, and the Australian trade skills shortage. What we need to do is connect and direct youth to employment opportunities where vacancies actually exist, and that is where Tradie Horizons will come into play. Not only do we think we can kickstart a sustainable enterprising lifestyle for underemployed youth, but we also believe we may have actually found the answer to Australia's growing construction skills shortage problem. We sincerely thank you for taking the time to view our presentation, and we welcome any feedback or questions that you might have. We hope that you will continue to join us in this journey and that you too become as passionate about our idea as we are. Thank you.